I got to mile 70, I was done. My feet were broken, I was stress fractures, shin splints, muscles were tearing, I was in bad shape. So I sat down and I look at my wife and I was like, I'm messed up bad. So I literally start to turn white. Here I am, I'm all fucked up in this chair, got 30 fucking miles to go, I'm jacked up, I'm peeing blood down my leg, pooping up my fucking back, and I got 30 miles to go. And I can't stand up because my blood pressure's all messed up. I've been in 3 hell weeks, Ranger School, overcome so many obstacles in my life. This last 30 miles of this race is when I realized a human being is not so human anymore. We have the ability to go in such a space if you're willing to suffer, and I mean suffer. Your brain and your body, once connected together, can do anything. And this 30 miles was the life-changing moment. I was out of it. I was in the worst pain in my entire life. I was, to me, on the brink of death. And I was able to chunk this 30 damn miles into small pieces. I was so driven, and I'm not gonna say motivated because motivation's crap. Motivation comes and goes. When you're driven, whatever's in front of you will get destroyed. This is a fucking lifestyle, man. Like, and people wonder, why am I not achieving more? It's because all of us, once we achieve something, we celebrate for a long years fucking time. And we wonder, why don't I have drive anymore? Where's it all at? If you don't develop a routine of suffering, and suffering is not like go out and kill yourself every day, it's being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That keeps you hungry every day. If you live in your victories for so long and say, I'm gonna go challenge myself for 30 days or for 2 weeks or run this one marathon, and it ends, I did one marathon. Okay, that's why it leaves you. It leaves you because you haven't set up the next obstacle. Obstacles is how you grow. You must continue to have friction. Friction is where growth is at. There's no friction, there's no growth. I was in the gym working out, and this NBA player walks in with his trainer. I could tell by the exercise they were doing, he was used to doing just 12 reps. Because when the trainer said, let's do 15 today, he got a little attitude. It became very clear to me on why he was a bench warmer. Having that bare minimum fucking attitude will keep your ass on that bench. If he heard what kind of bitch he was being that moment, he wouldn't have said it. It motivated me though. It was locked in my brain, it's still there now, on how he sounded. It kept me in the gym another 2 hours. The thing about it is this, it's not just the 3 reps that he failed to fucking recognize. It's what happens in those 3 fucking reps that make you better. Never do the bare minimum, stay hard. I've really become an expert at running 100-mile races. So for me, this was the new level, the 200+ mile race. And I was saying, I go, is this the new level? Is this the new push? And what was so amazing about that, as you probably read in the book, I had a hard time the first time doing it. I came back and did better, but what's amazing about the human mind is that it becomes your new norm. Like, to think that I can run 200 miles, 240 miles, and that becomes like running 50. I never thought that was possible. This is why I'm always pushing that limit, because I know that within pushing these limits, there's always more. So I end up doing almost like back-to-back 200-mile runs. When the 200-mile race, 240-mile race was hard at once, it became something that was very easy after I figured it out. So I sat in this chair and I was so driven to succeed in this race. And at this time, everybody goes, were you thinking about the guys that died? And I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't. This became a personal thing. It just became something that I took so violently personal. And I broke this thing down into small pieces. I said, okay, I gotta get nutrition. I gotta be able to stand up before I can get off this curb and get off this chair and be able to go 30 miles. So I went through all these small steps and I was able to stand up. And then from staying up, I was literally walking around with my wife at the time, and she goes, "You're not gonna make the time." She goes, "You're walking like 30-some minute miles." I got to mile 81, and the second she said that I'm not gonna make the time, I ran the last 19 miles, non-stop. Worst pain, this is the worst pain I've been in my entire life. Nothing in any training is even comparable to this last 30 miles. My ex-wife looked at me and she's like, "Man, we agreed I'm not gonna make the time." I was going way too slow. And at that time, at mile 81, something clicked that I'll never probably be able to do again, when my mind, body, spirit, soul, everything just connected. And my mind knew I wasn't fucking around anymore. It knew I wasn't gonna quit. It knew that guy was dead and buried and gone. And I was gonna die out here on this fucking 1 mile. For whatever reason why, I was gonna get through this motherfucker. I didn't give a damn. It made no, there was no fucking crowds. There was no trophy at the end. I wasn't even in a race in my mind. It was nothing. It wasn't about nothing. There was no nothing. It was a bunch of people who didn't know who the fuck I was, and it was me against me. And I used all these different dark places to start bringing out light and just fucking going deeper and deeper. Ended up running the next 20 miles. I ran 101 miles, and I ran the next 20 miles at about a 10:30 pace. Like, my shins hurt so bad from having stretch fractures that the only way I could continue on was I taped it so I wasn't doing the flexor motion that activates your shins. So I taped my ankles and my shins up, and I got that from, because in my third hell week, they weren't gonna let me go back through, train anymore.
Right.
So I literally went through all the buds, my last SEAL training, with stretch fractures and shin splints. And how I did it was I would tape my ankles all the way up to my calf every morning. So for the first hour, the pain was excruciating. But what happened is my feet would go numb. And I did that every single day for 6 months.
Whoa.
And that's how I got through my third hell week, because I was so broken from the first two that the commander said, "Hey, the CEO said this is your last time to send you through." So that's how I got the idea to do that. So with the right, and people may listen to this and say, "This guy is sadistic, he's crazy, no, if you know how I came up, you realize I was just a scared kid that found drive and passion to be something much better than what he thought he was." That's all it is. So I'm slowly trying to build this brand to the point where I can slowly, hopefully, make people from motivated to driven, because motivation is crap. It's shit. People right now, maybe listen to this shit, they be motivated to go run. If it's cold somewhere where they're at, a lot of motherfuckers will shut that door, go back inside. That's motivation. It comes and go as how you feel. If you and your wife are good, if you and your kids are good, if you're good at work, you're motivated. I like a motherfucker whose life is imploded, ain't got shit in life, and says, "I still gotta fucking get after it today, man." That's what it's about. So that's when you move from motivation to driven to obsessed. And I want people to realize, once you get to this portion over here, the driven obsessed part, you're unstoppable.